Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Xbox Casuals, the Xbox podcast. I am one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is I hope he gets a 4-year development cycle, Josh Finney.
Oh, man. 4-year development cycles, Corey.
I know.
On the shorter side of AAA development, it feels like these days.
Oh, yeah, you're not kidding.
But, man.
Why is my microphone is like really blown out? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm just trying to adjust because my kids come down here. Look, Josh, my kids come down here and they play with their stupid toys on my side of the basement.
They play with your toys,
and then
with their toys. At least they're not playing with your toys, which are very expensive.
Well, here's the thing, Josh. Sometimes my daughter gets the idea that she wants to talk into the microphone, and then she starts touching all the knobs, and then everything gets thrown off. And I didn't notice it until after we started recording.
Is this you telling me that podcasting is going to become a family career?
Well, maybe. Speaking of podcasting, though, Josh, I get to be on my work podcast for our Christmas special.
Lucky you.
I know. Probably going to talk about AI.
God,
since that's
I don't think you're allowed to go in there and tell them how shit you think AI is going to be.
Oh man. Anyways, 4-year development cycles, Josh.
4-year development cycles. I mean, we have a lot of games to talk about tonight. It's been a fun couple of weeks of releases, I would say.
Yeah.
And I missed our last episode when we were talking about the partner showcase that happened.
Yeah. How did you feel about that?
It was fine. Not a whole lot that I really feel like highlighting. I guess it wasn't bad. It was better than the first one of these that they did. I feel like they're genuinely getting better with each of these.
Yeah.
Which makes me really excited. But I mean, Alan Wake 2 DLC always welcome. The biggest reveal was the new multiplayer game from Remedy.
What the Federal Bureau, the FBC Fire something? Right?
Yeah,
Firebreak or something.
Firebreak. That's what it is. It's coming straight to Game Pass and PS Plus, which is honestly probably a really good decision.
Yeah, it's probably. They probably saw what happened at Concord. And
my god! I mean, I suspect that the deal was probably in place before, but yeah. Concord should be a cautionary tale to anybody trying to make a multiplayer game to break in today, that you need to consider some alternate routes of adoption.
Everybody has their multiplayer game now, man.
I will say the biggest thing that they've made about this is it does not look like it is a PvP experience. It is a multiplayer PvE game, putting you in the ranks of the FBC agents. Take on the horrors of the oldest house using a variety of appropriately weird weaponry in this exciting co-op experience. Firebreak arrives in 2025, coming day one to Game Pass. That is straight from Xbox Wire. The fact that they clarified that it is a PvE experience and that it will have additional content but has a definitive end cycle of development was very reassuring. I think that's kind of what you have to do with these multiplayer games. Like you can do these co-op experiences, and I think it'll go over a whole lot better than another PvP experience.
Yeah.
So, especially in a genre where it's really hard to break in with those 3-person games, because most co-op games are 2 or 4. It's always really weird when you choose to do 3 or 5 or 6. Like Concord, I think, really failed because they didn't show us gameplay until like 2-3 months before release.
Yeah.
I still remember when they announced it last year with just like the title, during that absolutely atrocious live service state of play that they did.
Yeah.
And then we got like a 10-minute cinematic this year showing it off and very little gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
The beta, like we all thought it was kind of a joke. Like we were watching the Steam charts and we're like, oh, only like 1,000 people are playing it. Holy shit. I don't think any of us planned on it being that little adoption though. Like, that I was having this discussion with somebody the other day, and they were like, "Man, this is just like the biggest flop ever in the history of games," and it's up there. But it is not Firebreak's fault. Not entirely. It is the blame for this rests solely on Jim Ryan and Herman Holst, in my opinion, for even greenlighting this game.
Well, it wasn't greenlit by them. It was they bought it, which is even worse.
That I mean, well, they bought the studio, but they could have looked at it at any point. It's the same classic argument we had about Arcane Austin, right? With
Mhm.
Redfall, like at some point you should have stepped in and said this isn't gonna work.
Yeah.
The problem was this seemed like a studio that was really, really, really like passionate about this game, whereas like all the stories we've heard about Arcane Austin, it was kind of like most of the rank and file were like, we didn't come to work on this type of game. We came to work on things like Prey and Dishonored.
Yeah.
So two totally different situations, but I really can't. They yanked it after 2 weeks. Didn't even give it a chance to go free to play. They just decided the whole studio was worth firing and closing.
Well, they
This
probably well,
is
they probably didn't have any sort of, like, real monetization plan because, all the heroes were gonna be free, all of the stuff was gonna be earnable in game, all of the maps were gonna be free.
yeah, it's and that's the other thing of it is like the monetization is really bad. So I'm glad that Firebreak isn't going that way. That Firebreak is a PvE game. Like the world that they were building for Concord seemed interesting. They had story stuff, but it's going to be so awkward in like a month and a half. We're getting secret level from Amazon, and there's still a Concord episode.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, because they've been working on this thing for years, but
Yeah.
Sony really thought this was going to be another huge hit for them. And I feel like they may have pivoted after that beta if Helldivers hadn't been such a out of nowhere success earlier this year.
Yeah, but also, like, you look at Helldivers, it's a PvE game, it's not a PvP game,
Yep. And
right?
that's it's all about reading your audience. Helldivers also it does something that just isn't out there in games right now.
Yeah.
And even Helldivers, like it sold so incredibly well, partially because it was a PC, it was a day one Steam release, and I know Concord was also, but it was a day one Steam release. It came out at a time when there wasn't a lot of other stuff out.
Mhm.
And it's a Sony first party title. Like people want to play it, and oh my god, like it took off, and like those sales have largely tapered off, and the player base has too. But like that shows like you had a smash success of a game, and it's been real hard to keep players engaged. I don't think they planned on that being as big of a success as it was.
Right.
So like, I mean, I was done playing it after like 2-3 weeks. I still have friends who are logging in and playing it regularly, but I
Yeah.
feel like
Well, they just added a
Firebreak
whole bunch of new stuff, right? I mean,
they had the war bonds and stuff, but man, I want different enemies to fight. I want different environments to fight in, and I understand all that takes a lot of time to do.
yeah.
And but
But also, I don't think Arrowhead thought that that game was gonna be as big as it
I
was
don't think
either.
Sony did either.
Yeah.
I don't think Arrowhead or Sony thought. And hey, really, really happy for Arrowhead. That is a smash success game. Every studio dreams of having a game just come out of nowhere and take off like that. So, like I said, I've still got a couple friends who are playing. They regularly play it, like maybe once a week.
Yeah.
They're getting together to play it. A little bit less now that we're getting into like Black Ops season, and a whole bunch of big story games are coming out, like Stalker's on the horizon. So
Yep.
they're kind of tapering off a little bit, but a much needed commercial hit for Sony this year.
Yeah.
Um,
I wonder what that means for Fair Games because
Fair Games, that
that game didn't look like anything better than Concord, to be honest, in my opinion.
yeah, we haven't even really seen gameplay from Fair Games yet.
Yeah, we just saw
they
that tone
announced
trailer,
that
right?
they announced Marathon, and both of those went radio silent. We just got an update on Marathon this week.
Yeah, which is cool.
It's cool. I
I
still
mean
don't
that
know.
we got an update, not that the
Yeah, I
game is
still don't know
cool.
how I feel about it. I'll be really surprised if it makes a 2025 release right now. I've got to peg this
Mhm.
Q126 personally,
Yeah.
especially with Bungie shifting around how they're going to release Destiny expansions. Like, oh, you're going to do two smaller packs a year, and obviously we'll talk a little bit more about this on Tower Casuals, but
Yeah.
you you have to have a strategy in place, and it's going to now it gets really hard because you can't say, oh well, we can release it in the fall, and there's no major Destiny content coming except for seasonal stuff until next summer. Can't do that now.
Right.
And you don't want to cannibalize your own games. I just nothing that I've heard about this game really inspires a lot of confidence in me. This update really felt like Joe Ziegler like fought to get this released. I have a feeling he had to have a really, really, or either he fought for it or Sony fought him to release something on it. That
Yeah.
nobody really looked super enthusiastic.
Mm.
That is a game that has gone through a lot of upheaval this year. Of course, Chris Barrett was fired from Bungie following an HR investigation. Joe Ziegler, the former director of Valorant, came in, and Jesus, I just don't. I don't know how this is supposed to go. They've confirmed it's an extraction shooter and that there's classes you play as, and I'm trying my best to stay optimistic about this because I mean, if anybody's going to shake up and do an extraction shooter correctly, it's going to be Bungie.
Yeah, I
I
mean, at least we
still
know it's
believe
gonna
in the
feel
Bungie
good to play.
magic, but my beliefs are being tested real hard these days.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the very least it'll feel good to play. I'm not tempted to say fun to play, but
Yeah,
it's
I agree.
it'll be interesting to say the least, I guess.
It'll be interesting. I'm curious to see where this ultimately goes for Bungie, but kind of getting back to the partner preview real fast. Legend of Babu looks interesting.
Yeah,
Of course, I'm here for a pirate Yakuza game. I really need to play Infinite Wealth. I like that this spins out of that. That's really cool.
yeah.
God, is anybody pumping out hits as quickly as RGG is these days
I mean,
with as much
Sega in
quality?
general.
Like, this has really been the year of Sega. I think if you had to like slap a publisher of the year label out there, it's got to be Sega this year for me.
Yeah, I mean, they've put out 8 games and they're all above 70 something on Metacritic, and
Yeah,
most of
Sonic
them are
Shadow
80s.
Generations. You
Yeah.
have
Which I
Like a
didn't know was a
Dragon.
remake of Sonic Generations
Yeah,
at
but
all, by the way.
still.
No, I didn't know that. That was my I
Um, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Persona 3 Reload, Metaphor ReFantazio, which we're going to talk a lot about later on. It's right now, nothing's beating it on Game of the Year. It's been a great year for Sega. So happy to see that they're going to keep that going right away. It's going to be going. They're going to be dropping it mid February.
Hmm.
I think that's cool. I've been following Mouse PI for a while, so I'm very interested in this game. I think this looks so dumb for my old school Disney loving heart.
Yeah, it looks so stupid,
It
but,
looks
like, in
so
a good way,
stupid.
in a fun way.
I'm personally not super hyped for this, but I do understand that it's a very big get for Game Pass. Subnautica 2, that's
Oh,
going to be
yeah,
really big with a lot of folks. And then Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, that looked really interesting.
yeah,
That was revealed earlier this year, so kind of cool to see that. See another one of that, another Game Pass game coming right away. Phasmophobia is finally coming to consoles. That really doesn't do anything for me, frankly. Eternal Strands, I'm kind of back and forth on this. So yeah, it was fine. It was a fine
yeah.
show. It wasn't like the greatest thing I've ever seen, but it wasn't horrible either.
It was good, not great. 7.5.
It was good. It reminded me of like a slightly better state of play. Like I saw like two or three things I was really excited for, a couple things I was curious in, and then of course, the announcement of, games that have been on other consoles for a while, aka Animal Well, which Animal Well, from everything I've heard, is an absolute must play. They over on Boss Rush, Stephanie did an interview with the developer behind this, right?
Yeah,
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 so check
well,
that one out.
yeah, it's funny because we put that interview live right as it was announced for Game Pass.
Man, what great timing
Dude, we had some
unintentionally.
killer timing with releases of some of these things, because all that Kingdom Come Deliverance news 2 news came
Yeah, yeah,
out,
yeah,
and
yeah.
we released that interview, like, the day before some of that news came out. Yeah,
But I liked it. I thought it was solid. Good, not great, like you said. If anything, it made me more excited for the actual developer direct that we're gonna get inevitably in Q1.
mhm,
So I am curious to see how early we get one in Q1 because I feel like they like that February window, but I don't know if they want to rush and get one out in January, considering Avowed is February 16th. I almost wonder if like they adopt what Sony was doing there for a while for their major titles. Like, hey, we're just gonna show 10, 15 minute state of play just showing you the game.
Mm-hmm.
Which and like the Nintendo does that with a lot of their stuff, and like with Pokemon games especially. Like I would really like to see that done for big big games like Avowed or Gears E-Day.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe not South of Midnight. I feel like not that South of Midnight's not cool, and I do think we need to see a little bit more. But I think like you're gonna be able to see that at the showcase or as part of Developer Direct. Fable, I think, would warrant one. Just some of these big games that are going to take like 40, 50 hours to play through.
Yeah.
So like Horizon games totally deserve them, and I love that Horizon gets them. So Ghost of Tsushima, that's another. Like Ghost of Yote is 100% getting one of these.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to see Microsoft adopt that a little bit, but you could easily do one of those end of January, middle of January, end of January, just to remind people, hey, Avowed's coming in a couple of weeks. The marketing's, I'm actually a little surprised, has already started for this game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's because it was supposed to come out in November originally, but it is on Mountain Dew, Rockstar, and Doritos products right now because Microsoft's doing the Game Fuel promo again this year with World of Warcraft, Diablo 4, Flight Sim, ESO, and Avowed.
Yeah.
Not the group I would have expected them to do it for. WoW and Diablo, yes. Black Ops would have expected that. Did not see Flight Sim and Avowed being a part of this, but hey,
Yeah.
maybe they finally let somebody other than Aaron Greenberg decide this.
I can't wait to get my nacho cheesier shield in Avowed.
Oh, Jesus
Or
Christ.
my
I
Cool
think Avowed
Ranch.
is the only game that you can't get like XP tokens or any kind of like armor set for, but they do have it to where if you turn in enough codes of this, you can get a copy of the game.
Mm,
Like they've done with some of the promotions in the past, like Summer of
interesting.
Dew and the Taco
Yeah.
Bell promos that they've done and whatnot. Like, granted, you have to spend like hundreds of dollars in Mountain Dew and Doritos products to get it, but or you
Mm-hmm.
can like put in for an entry to win a copy or something. I did it with Doom Eternal just for kicks and giggles. They were giving those out like one every 20 minutes or something.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they'll do it with Game Pass codes. So yeah, other than that, just nothing like really big. But there is something big coming up on the horizon, Corey.
Ooh.
And it was going to be our lead story tonight until we had some news break late last night. But we'll go ahead and talk about the big preview event of the week. A couple
Yeah.
weeks ago, a bunch of content creators got flown out to see Indiana Jones and the Great Circle in action. And boy, howdy, the reactions are better than I could have dreamed.
I mean, I was hoping that this game would be like a 7, and I knew it was going to be better than that because it's machine games, right? But like, it's
We are getting the phrase could potentially be one of the best licensed games of all time thrown around right
oh my
now.
gosh, yeah.
And that's not that I do not believe that was from an Xbox specific site, which made me
It
really
was
excited.
I mean, Ryan McCaffrey said that this is going to be better than anything Machine Games has put out, too.
That seems to be the general vibe because I feel like as good as the Wolfenstein games they've done have been, with the exception of Youngblood,
Mhm.
I feel like beyond New Order, they didn't really get played. New Order,
Yeah.
I feel, got played because it was the first Wolfenstein in a hot minute. It was early in that generation. There weren't a lot of FPSs that weren't Call of Duty out at the time.
Mhm.
Those games are awesome. Machine Games
Yeah.
really cooks when they're given time. And
Mhm.
they said like this was a dream project for them. Todd Howard has wanted to work on this IP for forever.
Mhm. I mean, even if you go back to when, most of that team was at Starbreeze, right? And they did the Chronicles of Riddick game that everybody loved.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I always forget that they spun out of Starbreeze.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
always, always, always forget it.
Yeah, because they didn't want to do Payday, so a bunch of them left to do single player games.
Yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled that they have been allowed to cook with this. That It very much seems like Disney's trust was very well placed here. I
Mm-hmm.
can't wait. Everybody that I saw had just nothing but glow. Like, even people who are historically pretty down on Bethesda or on the Xbox ecosystem were like, damn, this is like a must play. I feel like that is part of why we were hearing the rumor spring up right around the time these previews were happening, that Microsoft doesn't want to push for multi-plat announcements as hard anymore. Like, they'll still bring games, but like, as far as announcing something in advance, they don't want to do that anymore, because if this game's a hit, they've already announced it coming to PS5.
Mm-hmm.
That undercuts a reason for people to get into your ecosystem on your
Mm-hmm.
platforms or on PC or whatever.
Right.
And I don't expect this to be like some sales milestone, right? But on PS5, it could be. We've seen how well Sea of Thieves sold, and that's a game that was 6-7 years old when it released.
Mm-hmm.
So I am very, very excited for this. You and I have stayed intentionally dark on everything about this game
Yeah.
as much as we're able to. We
Yeah.
we saw the and this is how you should reveal a game, by the way. I don't love that they announced it a couple years ago. I think they kind of had to, as like a term of the sale or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That felt like a Disney move.
that definitely, because I mean, the movie was coming out.
Yeah.
This game very clearly probably was trying to come out last summer. COVID delays, man.
Yeah.
COVID delays. And
Well,
the
also,
sale and everything else. So
yeah. Also, like the movie didn't probably do as well as Disney wanted to, so they probably are
it
like, well,
definitely did
we
not.
need to make sure this game is amazing.
Yeah. Yep.
Because the movie, as much as I liked it, because I'm a sucker for Indiana Jones movies, I know that a lot of people maybe didn't think it was that great.
Mhm.
And they just gotta make sure that this game is amazing, and it seems like they are, right? It seems like it really truly seems like they are doing indie justice. um the first person stuff still throws me off a little bit, but I think once you get into the game and start playing it, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about it at all. Like, everybody was just saying, like, even in just the immediate part they got to play in this was a hearty demo from what we've heard.
Yeah.
I believe
Well,
they
they play like
had.
3 hours or something with it.
Yeah, I was hearing, like, if you rushed through, you probably could have done it in about 90 minutes. But if you took the time to do all the puzzles and whatnot, then you probably spent about 2.5 hours. So I like hearing that. But there were puzzles right away in the opening section at Marshall College.
Yeah.
They like This was dubbed by Ryan McCaffrey as the true fourth Indiana Jones,
Mm.
because it takes place in the timeline between Raiders and Last Crusade. So
Mm-hmm.
awesome, very excited. We're both big Indiana Jones fans. This very well could be the killer app Xbox has been waiting for. I just really hate that it's releasing as late as it is, because unless they start doing review codes soon,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably not it'll make a lot of it'll make it in time to be considered for publications. It won't make it in time to be considered for Keeley's show, so that's gonna be a fun talking point for another year, Jedi Fallen Order style.
Yeah. Yeah, about
should
that.
should be an absolutely awesome experience. Though I think the licensing team over at Lucasfilm and at Disney Games, shout out John Drake,
I
they
know.
have done an awesome job.
He's been him
He's
and that team have
crushing it.
been really nailing where these things should go and where they fit, right? Even like you even look at the Avengers, and if you think about it
Mhm.
from a single player perspective, like that team that team, the Tomb Raider team, should have been able to like make a killer first person or a first one single player experience,
And it's
right?
worth noting that was greenlit before he went to Disney.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, like, even then, like,
But I'm like going through the Rolodex of things that he's greenlit over there.
mhm,
And not just for Disney properties, but for Lucasfilm and for uh,
Marvel.
Fox. Fox and Marvel and all that. I mean, there's Spider-Man partner. There's the continuing. I don't even see Spider-Man. The existing Marvel partnership with Sony.
Mhm.
There was Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, Disney Dreamlight Valley, Alien Fireteam Elite.
Heck yeah, Disney Dreamlight Valley new expansion announced this week, Josh.
I hate you so much.
The Storybook Vale. I'm ready.
Unbelievable.
I'm ready. Sign
They've
me.
They've announced a sequel to Alien Isolation, which has just become a cult classic at this point. They've done 2 Tron games now with Bithell Games.
Mm-hmm.
Not something I would have ever had on my bingo card, Mike Bithell making 2 Tron games, but here we are.
Right.
They've done obviously Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. They're working on a 3rd Jedi game right now.
Yeah.
Supposedly, Respawn is working on 2 other Star Wars adjacent titles. We heard rumors about that one is an FPS and one is an RTS
Mm-hmm.
that are being developed over there with Respawn and maybe some of the other EA teams. Star Wars Squadrons was a thing at Motive. They are just crushing it on all fronts. And then we had the Blade announcement
Yeah.
last year at the Game Awards for Xbox. So really, really, really happy to see this. And of course, Indiana Jones is one of those games as well. So
Yeah.
absolute shout out to John Drake. He said, one of his goals is really trying to see like, okay, what can we do with these Fox properties now that everything's taken time to get integrated? What can we do here? So
Yeah.
Outlaws was one. So
Mm-hmm.
it just,
I would say the only like real miss was that Disney Speedstorm, that free to play racing game.
Yeah.
It's Josh, it's bad.
It's not it.
It's bad. If they would have just released a Mario Kart clone with Disney characters and just gave us a season pass like Fortnite, but no.
It's not great.
It's yikes.
It's yikes. So yeah, big week with the Indiana Jones previews. It seemed completely awesome from everybody who talked about it. And it wasn't just outlets. They did a really good job at including a bunch of different types of content creators there too, which I really appreciated. It wasn't just, people who only play story games or, people who only play Bethesda games. Like there was a pretty decent selection of people that went out there. So definitely check out some of those reactions if you're interested in that game.
Yeah.
And of course, we will have a huge blowout on it when we get to play it. That'll probably be our last show of the year, honestly. Talking Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
That comes out right before the holidays. Kind of depends on how quickly you can get through it. Because I don't want to rush this one, but I know I'm going to rush through it because I'm very excited.
Yeah, that's the only game I'm going to play for like however long, right?
Yeah.
So.
And it sounds like it's going to be a pretty hearty adventure. I'd probably guess it sounds like it's probably going to be about 15 to 20 hours to do everything, which for a single player game, not bad these days.
Yeah.
I would rather have games that take that long as opposed to just games filled with bloat. It's what I like so much about Spider-Man 2, as much as like Spider-Man 2 was good. It's just like, I didn't like it as much as the other two. And you could 100% that thing. You get the platinum in under 25 hours. Loved it. Loved that so much. I didn't feel like I rushed through it at all. I damn near 100%ed it on my first try and didn't even play around really after the campaign was done, and I clocked in at 21, 22 hours, something like that. I was very happy. No guides or anything. That kind of the perfect length for a AAA game right now.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of these mega long games. Not everything needs to be a Metaphor or a Dragon Age or anything like that.
Yeah.
But continue. Do you have any more thoughts?
I can't wait. I think it's going to be great. I can't wait.
Continuing on the subject of Disney collaborations, there has been a shakeup in the leadership at the Initiative.
What?
What? News about the Initiative again?
This is good shakeup, though.
This is a very good shakeup. I'm very excited for this. Brian Horton is no longer the creative director of Marvel's Wolverine from Insomniac Games over at PlayStation Studios. He is now going to be the creative director of Perfect Dark. And also it should be that this comes from Stephen Totillo over at GameFile. This has been confirmed by basically everybody overnight. Cameron Christian was the previous announced game director for Wolverine, is staying at Insomniac in a different role. The game will now be helmed by creative director Marcus Smith, and Mike Daly will serve as the new game director. If those names are a little familiar to you, it's because they helmed Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Is that what it was called? Rift Apart?
Yep.
I almost said Rift in Time.
It's a crack in time and a Rift Apart.
Rift Apart. So that is then they're taking over the exact same roles they had, creative director and game director. The changes atop the Wolverine development team are the result of creative decisions around the game, two sources told GameFile. SIE's rep declined to comment on the reason for the role changes of Wolverine. As for Brian Horton, who has previously worked as the creative director on another lauded Insomniac game, Spider-Man Miles Morales, my favorite Spider-Man game, this is why I'm excited, has already found a new high-profile gig. He is now the new creative director for Perfect Dark, being helmed and co-developed by Microsoft's Initiative Studio and Embracer-owned Crystal Dynamics. He will be bringing his wealth of experience to the upcoming reboot of the classic Secret Agent series, a rep for Xbox confirmed to GameFile. This is a win-win.
Mm-hmm.
You are getting two guys who probably were kind of sitting around twiddling their thumbs, because I don't know that they were rushing to get, not that Ratchet and Clank isn't popular, I don't know if they were rushing to get another one in development since Astrobot was being worked on.
Right.
So I don't know how much they were really rushing to do another Ratchet and Clank right away.
Yeah, plus that, like, the quote unquote planned Spider-Man DLC is not happening anymore, right? Like, I mean, that,
Yep.
which is that team was going to work on, I guess.
Yeah, things have been pretty murky, and we know Insomniac, some of these changes are almost certainly because of the leak that happened last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I am curious to know what changed from that. The DLC is one thing that got canceled right off the bat. That was on their roadmap. We were supposed to get DLC, didn't happen. It is coming to PC though. Perfect Dark hasn't had a director in a while.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited for this. I think these teams keep switching team members though. Drew Murray was one of the ones who was on the initial initiative team. Was he originally the creative director or not? I can't really remember if he was.
I don't remember, to be
I
honest.
want to say that he was. I'm looking it up right now. Drew Murray was the design director, but he left in February 2021, shortly after the reveal, to rejoin Insomniac Games. We've talked about Drew before. Great guy, nothing wrong with him going back. A lot of that was related to personal tragedies that happened. So going back somewhere familiar. They've really struggled to keep a creative director in charge of this game, though.
Yeah.
So from what I've heard and what I've read, there wasn't anyone who was really in that position for a while. They the original Tomb Raider reboots at Crystal Dynamics that were helmed by Daniel Newberger, he left in February 2022. So, and they lost a lot of people in 2022 on this game. Rebecca Valentine did an awesome report back in 2023, shortly after the Xbox Game Showcase. She had that reveal come out. Big deal. But thankfully, there's finally a creative director there. The game looked good when we got that first look at gameplay this past summer. So I'm really hoping that, especially with him having been the director of Miles Morales, that maybe he's coming in to help refine the movement technology in the game with the emphasis on the parkour. So I'm hoping that this game scratches the Dishonored itch, which that's another thing we heard about Indiana Jones, is that it felt like Dishonored in terms of movement, puzzle solving, and alternate routes to solve or to explore levels. Love hearing that.
Yeah, it's
So
great.
there's some really cool shit going on. I still think this game is probably Christmas 25 is their goal internally. I wouldn't be shocked if it ends up being Q1 26.
Yeah, I don't know if, as much as I would love it to, I don't know if Perfect
This
Dark
game has
is
been rebooted so many times now.
Yeah, and I don't know if that name could hold a holiday, right? Especially if you're going to release another first-person shooter around then, like another Call of Duty around then, which I know this is more of an immersive thing, but like a lot of people still associate Perfect Dark with the N64 as a first-person shooter like GoldenEye, so like I think that mindset is still going to float around the people who aren't really paying attention to this. And I still think pushing it out is going to be the smarter move, especially if like, Call of Duty and then even Gears, right? Like
Yeah, I think so. Next year's Call of Duty doesn't seem like it's going to get, as we're about to talk about Call of Duty, doesn't seem like it's going to have, from what we know from Tom Henderson of Insider Gaming, we don't know that it's going to be like a full fledged title. It might be more like Modern Warfare 2 following up Modern Warfare 2 a couple years ago,
Mm-hmm.
Modern Warfare 3 following up 2. I think I just said 2 twice.
You did.
Uh,
It's okay though. I knew what you meant.
But if you're going to do that, then I think that opens up hopefully a little bit of an avenue to be able to put out something like a Gears or something like Perfect Dark. I don't think Perfect Dark is going to face a whole lot of competition from the COD crowd. The COD crowd is it's going to buy it no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
It was always going to buy it no matter what. I do think it can hold a November date down though. Most big releases are out by the time Call of Duty is. They don't want to release after because we get steamrolled no matter what.
You also got to pay attention to Grand Theft Auto next year too, though.
I'm still very skeptical if GTA makes it out next fall. I think GTA is going to slip.
I mean, yeah, but I think you still have to pay attention to that.
Oh, I think you do. I 100% think you do, and I think that's why we haven't really heard anything beyond Avowed, Doom, Fable, and South of Midnight for next year. Like Microsoft's got exclusives locked and loaded at this point.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are getting closer to the finish line, and we're kind of coming up on the end of this generation for Xbox. We're only 2/3 the way through it for Xbox as of Indiana Jones. I would wager that by fall 20, we've said it before on the show, fall 26 is probably when you're getting the next Xbox. They're going to want to beat PlayStation to market. They want to have more of a Steam Deck and Switch 2 competitor than a PS5 competitor. Makes sense on the surface.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that. I think Perfect Dark has to be out before that, though.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not, you've taken an entire generation to do this game. And yes, we can point to COVID, but I always laugh when I think of COVID in games. I think back to we got some publicity pictures of Phil Spencer visiting the initiative and playing Perfect Dark. We didn't know it was Perfect Dark at the time, even though it was heavily rumored. Like 3 weeks before everything shut down for COVID, and they were already promoting it. I think they were ready to announce it. My personal conspiracy is that if COVID hadn't happened, they would have announced it at that summer showcase and not held it for the Game Awards. I think they would have just outright announced it.
Mm-hmm.
But then it gets rebooted twice after that. Like Drew Murray was talking about it when he was at home during COVID. Like, yeah, I'm letting my kid play it. Like the game was far enough along that he was letting his kids play it and give him feedback on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, I hope this is part of whatever Jason Schreier writes about next. I cannot wait for the tell-all on the making of this fucking game.
Yeah,
this is ridiculous. But again, just two really good game. I shouldn't say good games since we haven't played them yet. Two hotly anticipated games, getting new leaders. I think this probably puts them both in the camp of it's either Christmas next year or it's 2026 to avoid GTA.
mm-hmm.
It's one of the two. So COD can withstand GTA.
Yeah.
Wolverine probably could, to be quite honest, because it's a Marvel game on PlayStation from Insomniac.
Yeah.
It could withstand it too.
Yeah.
Even though I personally think Ghost of Yotei is probably going to be their big fall title next year.
Yeah.
It would not surprise me if Wolverine went to 2026. The leaked roadmap that happened in the hacks did indicate that was going to be a 2026 game. We have no idea how accurate that is. I'm interested to see when it comes out. But yeah, two of my most anticipated future games right here.
Yep.
And we only have one other story today.
One other story,
but it's a big one because it's all about financials.
Yeah.
Xbox's fiscal year 2025 Q1 total gaming revenue up by 43%, and all of that has come from Activision.
I'm sorry, that's just it's not funny, but it's funny.
It's a little funny. It should be noted that it was July through September of this year. So this is not including Black Ops yet.
No, it's what? Diablo and
not even including Diablo. Diablo launched October 7th.
No, I mean like the main game. Or was that last year?
That was last year. That was last June.
Really?
June 2023. It came to Game
Pass
in March of this year.
What is happening to time, Josh?
I don't know, but I'm
Time
very,
is a flat circle.
I'm very impressed. This comes from WCCF Tech. Since the acquisition of Activision, Xbox's gaming revenue has grown by 43%, with all the gaming revenue coming specifically from Activision Blizzard. Additionally, content and services revenue grew by 61%, with 53 points of net impact being from the Activision acquisition. It is assumed that the growth comes from Game Pass and would be expected since some of Activision's games are finally making an appearance on the subscription service for the first time. It's the first time that people who use the service will be able to play a Call of Duty game via Game Pass, as Black Ops 6 was added to the service as a day one release. It should be noted that during July through September, Modern Warfare 3 was added to Game Pass. So, just so we're clear, there was some Call of Duty stuff. Xbox hardware revenue declined 29% year over year. That was somewhat expected. They didn't have Series X Pro coming out. They don't have a handheld, anything like that. And let's be honest, the last year hasn't really been the greatest for exclusives. Last year, at least in that Q1 fiscal year 24 window, you had Starfield coming. Starfield released at the end of that. Regardless of what you think, Starfield, did sell well on PC initially. You didn't really see a lot of Game Pass growth from that, but you saw a lot of engagement there, which is what they were wanting. So,
right,
big deal. I'm very interested to see what happens here. They have increased the price of Game Pass Ultimate from $16 to $20 a month, and $20 is about the most I'm willing to pay for this service. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's
for Ultimate. Now, I understand that a lot of that is, as first party games continue to come out, that service was going to need to get more expensive. I don't know if doing it the first year you had Black Ops or a Call of Duty game, I guess I should say, releasing day and date. I don't know if that was the time to do it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that was the time, especially because
I've been pretty open that I don't think it was the time.
I think you should have seen how Call of Duty did first, or how your Game Pass revenue changed with Call of Duty added to it, and then if more people bought Call of Duty than signed up for Game Pass on Xbox, then you raise it. If not, then you keep it or whatever. And I know it's all about shareholders and stock BS and whatever, but still, like, if it gets too expensive, you're gonna lose them shareholders anyway, because nobody's gonna be buying your product. So
yeah, you're gonna lose your consumer base. But Satya Nadella in the same earnings call was talking about it and said it was awesome. Satya Nadella said that last week's launch of Black Ops 6 was the biggest Call of Duty release ever, setting a record for day one players as well as Game Pass subscriber adds on a game's launch day. Unit sales on PlayStation and Steam were also up 60% over last year. Modern Warfare 3 sold pretty goddamn good too. So I also think like the beta was received really, really well for this game. Call of Duty General Manager Matt Cox added, "Thank you to all our players around the world for making Black Ops 6 the biggest COD launch ever. Our goal from the start has been to bring this great game to as many players as possible, wherever they are, however they play. Black Ops 6 is an amazing game, and the response from the COD community has been incredible. This is only the beginning. Nuketown is days away, and Season 1 is right around the corner." I gotta say, I do think this has been awesome. I think that the reception to this has been really, really well, and I'm having a pretty great time playing this.
Yeah,
I gotta be honest. I'm gonna talk about it in just a second. We got one last Call of Duty story. The franchise, as of Black Ops 6's release day, has now reached, according to the Washington Post, 500 million lifetime units.
It's insane to think about, but then you consider how many, like, it's missed 1 year since 2006 or whatever, and like
it actually should be noted. I need to correct myself here. It reached this figure before Black Ops 6 is taken into consideration.
Yeah, so that'll add another 20-30 million units at some point.
I would say it's probably going to add 25 to 30.
Yeah.
It does not seem like Game Pass cannibalized this sale at all.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, especially if a lot of people are probably still playing on PlayStation, and also,
they said 60% up over year over year sales on PlayStation and Steam alone. That's insane.
Yeah.
And the concurrence on Steam has shown it has outpaced both Modern Warfare 2 and 3, and it did that in a matter of minutes, essentially.
It's
So
insane.
that's great. This really, really seems like it's validating that strategy. Analysts were saying that they felt that it could lead to 2.5 to 4 million new subs on Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
And keep in mind, you only get this with Ultimate. You can't get this with any other tier Game Pass. So that's people who are paying $20. Now, granted, are you going to be able to keep those players is the thing. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that with you, and that's the whole thing about enticing you to join, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're getting Black Ops out. It's now. Oh my God, look at all these other games I have access to. And then, oh,
Yeah.
Stalker's going to hit next month. Then Indiana Jones is coming, and oh my God, well, what's this game about? Maybe I'm going to be interested in this. And
Right.
oh, Doom is coming to this too. Like,
Yeah.
and you're hoping and praying if you're a shareholder, if you're one of the accountants with the fucking Excel sheet open that decided that closing down Tango Gameworks was a good idea. That
Yeah.
you're hoping and praying that your decision was justified and these people forget to cancel. That's
Yeah.
what you're hoping for.
Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, maybe you get somebody, oh, a new Fable? I haven't played Fable in like 20 years. This game looks pretty
Yeah.
good.
Oh, and nothing they say nothing about like if new Forza slips out at some point.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Well,
Oh,
I was already gonna buy a couple of these games. I guess I'll just like keep my sub and play them on there.
yeah.
And oh, by the time you've done that, the next Call of Duty is ready to come out.
Yeah. And then, oh,
So,
Call of Duty's fun. Oh, a Gears game? This looks pretty great. Yeah, that's what they've been hoping for 10 years.
that's what they've needed for 10 years. They were hoping Starfield with that game, and to be fair, I think Starfield could have been, even though it came out at an 84 on Metacritic. I know
Ah,
that's heresy today,
yeah.
but that game coming out the way that it did, if they had just had more games in the pipeline for last fall and for Q1 and Q2 this year, I really think that could have been the beginning of your momentum. It needed to be, and it
Hmm.
wasn't.
Yeah.
So it had impossibly high expectations placed on it. We talked about this ad nauseum. We're not going to relitigate old things, but this, I think, really could be the beginning of the headwind if they can keep a solid release strategy. If you could get those 4 games out by like next August, I think you're
Hmm.
going to be in pretty good shape. Towerborn is going to be coming to consoles too. I think that's much more of a console focused game than anything else.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anybody talk about that game being in early access for Steam though, so that's a little concerning.
Yeah. I think a lot of people though that are looking for that game are waiting for the Xbox version. I
I
feel
think so
like
too. It really feels like a spiritual successor to Castle Crashers.
hmm
And hey, they're probably waiting for it to come to Game Pass, frankly.
yeah.
So it does not seem like it has cannibalized it at all, Corey.
Yep.
This game is awesome.
It's
I'm really enjoying Black Ops 6 right now,
yep, it's pretty good. Um
which is something I did not expect to be saying going into this year. It is the 21st Call of Duty game and the 7th
Jesus.
entry in the Black Ops sub series.
Seventh entry?
7th
Oh, there was
entry.
that weird declassified version on the Vita or PSP or
Yep.
whatever. No.
Yep.
Yikes.
You were asking when is the last time that they missed a year? It was 2004, the year
Yeah.
between Call of Duty and Call of Duty 2.
I said 2007. So,
2007 was Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
yeah. Well, yeah, because it came out like right after Halo.
It came out literally like the week before or the week after Halo 3.
It was after. It was definitely after. But man, dude, we were eating good back then.
We were eating
Halo
really
and Modern
we were
Warfare.
eating really really good.
Oh,
We were eating so well. Jesus, it was so good.
yeah. I mean, but this game is really good. It's really surprising me.
Yeah, do we want to just get into the Black Ops of it all now?
Yeah, I mean,
Let's do it.
I haven't finished it yet, but like
Okay.
I really like the mission structure. I really like how the missions play out. I like the hub, like like the house that you're in.
Yeah, I love that you can upgrade your abilities. That's
Yeah.
a really really cool aspect for me, especially when you want to go play on veteran. I think that's a
Yeah.
really cool move. I didn't really feel like I needed it playing it on normal, but
Yeah.
it was nice to have them. I also like that there are 4 skins, 3 of them purchasable in the campaign purchasable with campaign cash, not with actual real world money,
Mhm.
and a one as a mission reward for blueprints for multiplayer and zombies.
Yeah.
I really like that because that's gonna force you to go play those if you want those. It's
Yeah,
gonna force you
which
to go play the campaign, which it's the best campaign.
it's a great
This is the
campaign.
best campaign that they've done since I said since Modern Warfare 2, the OG one.
Mhm.
I think I'm going to stand by that one. That's where they started getting a little outlandish, but man, there are so many highlight moments for the franchise in that game.
Yeah.
The General Shepard twist, the assault on the airplane graveyard is something that sits rent free in my mind. Hotel Bravo, the final mission, storming DC after the EMP goes off. Ramirez, get to the Bugger Town.
Yeah.
Our old friend Keith David,
Mhm.
the opening mission that you do with soap in
Mhm.
what is it, the Russian snow
Yep.
base, and you're doing it in the snowstorm with the heartbeat sensor.
Mhm.
That was cool. Like after that, they just got kind of ridiculous, and I feel like we had a campaign here and there that were good. The Black
Yeah.
Ops 2 solid campaign. I don't even hate the Modern Warfare 3 one. I thought it was just absurd. That was
Yeah.
my only complaint about it.
Yeah.
I like
I've
Advanced Warfare. That was good,
I
despite the Kevin Spacey of it all.
oh, well. Yeah, well that was the before time.
Yeah, that was before we knew.
Oh man, yikes. I really I'm really in like it's been so long since I actually like played a Call of Duty game. And I toyed around with playing Modern Warfare, the new one, the first one, new one, because it looked so good and everybody said it was really really great. But then I don't remember why I didn't play it, but I was like, you know what? Black Ops 6 coming to Game Pass. There's no excuse not to play it now, right? And man, that opening mission where you're kind of like being interrogated. By the way, fucking beautiful game. By the way, character models
Incredible,
are
incredible.
I. It took me a minute to like realize that this was in engine, you know, and
Hmm,
like,
hmm.
I mean, it looks like a video game. I'm not trying to say this is like looks like
Yeah,
lifelike, but it was like because the one actress who plays Haro is in House of Cards, and I recognized her like right away. And or is it House of Cards or is it? I don't know. She's in some Netflix show my wife and I watched long time ago, uh, and I recognized her, and then I recognized the interrogator. Right, he's in a bunch of stuff. I'm like recognizing all these actors. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like you can see where this Call of Duty makes all this money every year, and you see where that budget goes every year. It's amazing.
yeah.
And like the way the weapons feel and sound and the movement is clean, and like I forgot that the when you aim down sights, like it just pops to the next enemy, which is a cool thing that I forgot
Yeah,
existed. Um, it took me a minute to get used to that because we play Destiny all the time, and um, it's just a wonderful shooter. It is clean.
it's yep,
It
yep.
is, the missions aren't too long, but they let you explore.
Oh, some of them definitely get long as you go further into
No,
this
I,
game.
I mean, I'm sure they do, but I mean, like,
Holy crap!
I just mean, like,
Yeah,
they don't feel long, I guess is what I'm saying. At least in the first, you know, 4 or 5 missions that I've played. Um, it's just a wonderful experience. It's been so long since I played any other shooter besides Destiny or Halo that it's like, this is a nice change of pace.
it's very, very well done. I was actually pretty surprised. Like that opening mission, I'm like, okay, this is like typical Call of Duty, and then you just kind of get turned on your head almost right away.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not gonna give major spoilers. We did have a request to talk about a specific mission that happens about the halfway point, and I'm gonna try to dance around the twist in it as much as possible. But there is a specific mission as you get further into this game at the halfway point. You're searching for a bioweapon. Tell me where you've heard this one before, right?
Hmm.
It's Call of Duty. You're searching for a bioweapon.
It's the go-to.
And man, it takes a really, really wild turn for me. For me, it took a very wild turn. This is one of those that is just really, I don't know how else to say it other than it's just very unique.
Yeah.
It's very unique. There is a specific mission. I'm trying to remember the name of it's the name of the mission. Emergence. That's the name of it. Jiggly Panda wrote this in, and I completely forgot. Emergence is the name of the mission, and it goes from being a like first person shooter and like with quite a bit of emphasis on stealth and like actual missions to accomplish in game
Mm-hmm.
to oh shit, it like turns into like psychological horror
Mm-hmm.
at a certain point, and you can definitely tell like, oh, that's Raven, that's the Raven touch right there.
Mm-hmm.
It is so obscenely good when you get to that point. The campaign, like that is it's had moments up
Mm-hmm.
to that point. It takes a sharp turn in Emergence,
Yeah.
and it is a twist in the absolute best way, and it doesn't let off the gas. The game actually gets crazier, I think, as you go on. Again, like really dealing with like psychological horror and like psychosis.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really fast. It's a really fascinating approach to take this. Like these games stopped trying to be grounded in reality.
Yeah.
I think that's the best thing possible because like listen, I'll always love Modern Warfare, the
Mm-hmm.
original, the Call of Duty 4, because that felt like the last Call of Duty that was plausible.
Yeah.
That, yeah, this shit could actually happen today.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel too outlandish. 2 is definitely where it gets to the point of, oh, it's too outlandish. Like, okay, Russia invaded the US that quickly. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
but
then you look at like something like Black Ops 3 where they're like fighting in your mind or whatever.
you look at like Infinite Warfare where you're in fucking space.
Yeah.
Ghosts. Like there's so many bad campaigns that we've had to sit through over the years.
Yeah.
So to see that, to say this is the best one probably in 15 years is not a huge stretch. I really like Advanced Warfare, but this trounces that. This is better than any other Black Ops campaign to me. Again, Black Ops 2, really good campaign. But really, like, you have to go all the way back to Modern Warfare 2 to find one that stacks up to this. And that's not easy to do. That's pretty high praise. So the campaign is awesome. I've not had a chance to play zombies quite yet. By the time we record our next episode, I will have played plenty of zombies. I'll be ready to talk about that. There's a conversation we had about the multiplayer in Call of Duty though. The lag is really bad. It's
Is
really
it?
bad this time. It feels really bad to me. I think the pings are really high. I've had really good ping when it's just me. When I'm in a party with literally anyone else, my ping goes from 10 seconds to like 60.
Yikes.
And that's pretty rough on an FPS. I
Yeah.
will say on top of that, the map selection is not great. The map selection and the spawning in particular are really bad. Um, there are some contenders for like all time worst COD map in this game,
Mm.
which is shocking after how good the campaign is. Everything I've heard about zombies is really really good. Like this is the return of classic zombies, not whatever bullshit we got last year.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit bummed by the map selection. I think there's a couple I really like that are frantic in the smaller maps. It's funny, I complained about the pit so much coming out of the multiplayer beta, and now that's like one of the better maps.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Subsonic is a cool idea. I like that you can open up hangar doors on either side of this supersonic jet and fight for the points. I think that's a cool map, even though a lot of people seem to hate it. I like the more frantic maps because I don't give a shit about my KD.
Yeah.
I enjoy playing it with my friends and having a blast. But Rewind is a terrible map. If you played the beta, that is the one with the Burger Town and the Blockbuster in it. I really hate that one. Vorkuta, if you don't get the correct spawn on it, can be really really rough on anything other than team deathmatch.
Mm.
And then there's Red Card, and um I think it's Baghdad, are the two absolute worst maps maybe in this whole game. There's another one, I forget the name of it, that is like it's a rainy map with like a castle on it. All three of those are just genuinely some of the worst multiplayer maps I've ever played in a game. They're absolutely atrocious. It's bad. I see everybody vote against them whenever they show up. So that should tell you something right now. And I'm somebody who really likes playing objective based modes,
Mhm.
and even I'm not having a good time in these maps.
Man,
It's really hard to play the objective in these maps, and
that
team deathmatch
surprises
is
me.
just sweats. That's all it is. So
Mhm.
a little bit bummed, and I think part of that's a result of, oh, there's more players than ever, and it definitely feels like that. I mean, I'm getting in the matches instantly.
Mhm.
I'm having a pretty good time. I played a lot this week. I don't even feel like I played that much. I probably got like I've had 8-9 hours of game time since it came out. I spent most of my time in it for the last several days beating the campaign. I probably spent more time in the campaign than I have in multiplayer so far. That's how long the campaign is, like a solid 8-9 hours probably. And that's if you're finding like the secret saves and you're doing some of the challenges and whatnot. I was playing through on normal.
Mm.
So really, really fun game though. It is overall, it's my favorite Call of Duty in a very long time. And I'm somebody who really didn't mind Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer. 2's was not good. I didn't mind 3 too much. I think that's because they brought back a lot of the classic Modern Warfare 2 maps for it, and that's why I didn't mind it.
Mhm.
But man, it just uh, they don't make the maps like they used to.
Yeah.
And I think part of the problem is several of these maps are yoinked straight out of the campaign, which they've
Mhm.
done before, obviously. But some of these are like just blatant sections of the campaign, which was my problem with some of the maps in Modern Warfare 2, and then even in 3, some of the original maps they made for those were yanked straight out of Warzone. And I did not enjoy that. Those were clearly made for Warzone, not for regular ass multiplayer. So
Right.
overall, if you got Game Pass, highly, highly, highly recommend going and playing this campaign. I've really enjoyed it. I look forward to playing zombies and talking about that next time we meet. But yeah, this campaign is kick ass. I really can't stop gushing about it. I love this campaign. I like that there's dialogue trees when you're in the safe house with everybody. Woods, I feel like with this game, Woods has kind of like moved up into that like very like highly esteemed Soap and Captain Price tier in terms of characters. Like I think, and this coming from somebody who did not play Cold War, I haven't played a Black Ops game since 3. And that was obviously, that one's like set in the future and shit. So, like, I really haven't interacted with Woods much since Black Ops 2. I feel like this game elevates him to that, okay, this is like a beloved franchise character at this point stature. So, just
Mhm.
awesome. It's awesome. I never thought I would sit here and gush about a Call of Duty game, but here we are.
I didn't think we would either. And
It's so good, man. I'm really really enjoying Call of Duty.
yeah, I'm actually gonna finish it. It might show up on some sort of list I make at the end of the year.
At this point, I'd be a little surprised if I didn't have this in my top 10.
Mhm.
And if you had told me that at the beginning of the year, I would have laughed you out of the room.
Yeah.
I expected to probably enjoy a little bit of time with this. I'm like, oh, okay, it's on Game Pass. Like, I'm not going to buy it or anything. I did buy the Vault upgrade
Mm.
just because. Oh, I was going to probably buy the first season pass anyways, and I might as well go ahead and get the blueprints and get the skins and stuff.
Mhm.
This is a really fun game. I'm really, really enjoying this game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's pretty good.
it's pretty good.
Do recommend.
Do definitely recommend.
Oh man.
Again, pretty surprised that I'm over here recommending this game.
Yeah.
Did not have that on my bingo card.
Right. Ah, good times. Am I
Good
right?
times. Okay. We'll kind of ping pong these, I guess, a little bit. Corey, what have you been playing that you've been really into?
Oh man. Well, really into is a strong word at the moment. I mean, besides Call of Duty, I've actually been going back and cleaning up some older games that I haven't finished yet, or like there's DLC that I never played. because I just don't know what I'm playing next. I'm kind
Mm-hmm.
of in this weird holding pattern. I mean, and Call of Duty's not going to last me longer than the next weekend or so, anyway. But I've been playing Assassin's Creed Origins: The Curse of the Pharaohs DLC. Why, you ask? Because I was playing Ghost of Tsushima, Josh, and I was enjoying it, and then my PlayStation just decided it didn't want to turn on anymore. And so I wanted something that scratched that itch,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't about to start Valhalla. And I've played 120 hours of Odyssey. I'm like, let's see what Origins looks like on this Xbox Series X and this nice TV. And I mean, it's fun. I'm having a good time. But I am also I have started playing with the great announcement of Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition coming to Nintendo Switch. Josh, I'm sure you've heard. Uh, I've been playing Xenoblade Chronicles 1 Definitive Edition on the Switch.
Jesus.
Uh, which is, it's good, but I don't know if there's anything I need to say that hasn't been said in the last 15 years about that game. So, uh, I've been really into watching some shows though, Josh. I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay.
My wife and I have been watching a ton of shows lately. We are almost done with Agatha All Along, which is surprisingly much better than I anticipated. Is it amazing? I wouldn't go that far, but it is better than I anticipated, which is
We'll love it. We just have the final 2 episodes to watch.
yeah, that's all we have left too. We just I had to record stuff last night, and we'll have the weekend to watch it. But yeah, I'm really interested to see how it wraps up and how this fits into the MCU, because it's it's cool, it's strange, it's fun. I think it's what the MCU needed, though, right? It needed something different than
It needed to be a little kooky.
yeah, and it's more personal at this point than the big giant. Oh my gosh, it's going to change the whole universe type thing.
Yeah,
Um,
I would agree.
which is what I really liked about WandaVision, um, in a lot of the ways. So that's good. And then we've been watching on Netflix Nobody Wants This, that show with Kristen Bell and Adam Brody. Yeah,
Yep,
Adam
Adam
Brody.
Brody, Seth Cohen.
Yeah, it is a wonderful show, Josh.
People are finally realizing that some of us have loved Adam Brody for a solid close to 20 years.
Yeah, I recognize him, but I don't know what else he's been in.
Seth Cohen, the OC baby.
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Listen, I only say that because I watched it sparingly when I was a teenager, and I went on a big rewatch last year because one of my favorite TV writers wrote a whole book where he was in conversation with the creators of the show, Josh Schwartz, Stephanie Savage, and the
Hmm.
cast. And it was such a good book. When I read the intro chapter, that I was like, okay, I feel like I need to watch this show to understand. And it kind of became my guilty pleasure.
Hmm.
I feel like when you're like 30, that shouldn't be your guilty pleasure show.
Oh, I have
But
plenty of guilty pleasures that are way too young for me, Josh.
well, especially like just when you talk about gender norms and stuff like that, like
Yeah.
I feel
No.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
you probably shouldn't have that as a guilty pleasure. But hey, you know what? It's fun. Peter Gallagher's in it. One of the best TV dads ever in Sandy Cohen.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, some of us have liked Adam Brody for a long time.
Um.
So he talks about Grand Theft Auto in the very first episode to somebody who just got arrested for stealing a car. That's how he introduces himself to Ben McKenzie in the show. It's like, hey man, you want to what do you play? You want to play Grand Theft Auto? You get to steal. It's a really cool game. You get to steal cars, and not that that's cool or not cool. I don't know what I'm saying. Like, it's great.
uh, it's really good. The chemistry between all the characters is really good. Even the secondary and tertiary characters are really
Yeah.
well written. I like a really good, like I like well written rom-coms. I hate generic rom-coms.
For sure.
This is one of the good ones. I highly recommend it. It did get renewed for a second season, and I am
Yeah.
worried that they're going to mess with the formula. For those who don't know, it's about uh, um, Adam Brody plays a modern kind of well, he plays a rabbi, but he's kind of like a modern take on a rabbi. Very into that side of the job and everything, but he's also like just like a normal dude. Uh,
Mhm.
and Kristen Bell is the host of a sex podcast, and with the girl that plays her sister. I recognize the sister, but I don't know what her name is. She's you know, their chemistry is really good though. And then, you know, they just get into this crazy relationship that you would never expect two sides, you know, the typical rom-com story, but it has a huge, like, the twist is good and the chemistry is good and it's well written, and the character, like the brother is really funny. He's the tall guy. I don't know if you watched Veep or not.
Yeah.
But he's like the tall guy, the tall lanky guy in that show, the idiot. um
Jonah?
yeah, yeah.
Love Jonah.
He plays the brother, and him and the sister have some sort of like weird connection in the show, but he's married to this this you know, seemingly big bitch, and like
Mhm.
he like obeys every word she says. It's really funny. And they're on a basketball team together called the Matzo Ballers, which was really funny. Um, so it's good. I highly recommend it to anybody out there who is looking for a show that's not nerdy or, you know, the typical things we talk about on these shows, right? So very good.
Yeah. I got two other games to bring to the table,
Yes,
Corey.
bring them.
And first, I got a shout out Dragon Age Veilguard. I started it today. It unlocked this morning. I took some time away from work to play it. Um, Man, BioWare's back. I feel pretty confident saying that. This is really good. I've never been into the Dragon Age games, and I'm instantly invested in this. It does a good job of catching you up if you've not played the previous games. You do not have to have played the previous games. I feel like Inquisition gets referenced an awful lot. I'm 4 hours in. Inquisition gets brought up a lot. And if you've played the other games, you can actually, specifically with Inquisition, you can choose decisions that you made in there, including who did you romance in that game,
Mm-hmm.
and to affect the world that you're in. And I've always appreciated that about BioWare games.
Mm-hmm.
It feels great. The skill trees feel really good so far. The party combat feels good. It feels really evolved. Feels tight. I've seen a lot of complaints about the party combat, and I can't say that I agree. So far, at least in the early hours, I'm really enjoying it. I
It
get
feels
that
like
it can feel a little archaic, I guess, but like it doesn't feel bad.
yeah, I've seen a lot of this game seems very divided in a way where like people are either loving it or they just can't stand it. There's no like in between, which I get, that's how the internet is, but this game specifically feels that way.
I feel like a lot of the people that you're seeing say, "Oh, this game's just total trash." One, have not played it. Two, are choosing to deride it for reasons that are not remotely gameplay or story related. They
Yeah.
are picking things to harp on that are, heaven forbid that we have inclusivity, essentially.
Yeah.
It's the same old story over and over again. I couldn't believe Dual Shockers put that bullshit in their review, and then Stealth
I
edited it
can. Have
out.
you read Dual Shockers lately?
No, I
I
don't read
haven't.
Dual Shockers anymore. I stopped reading Dual Shockers like 2, 3 years ago after they did the first round of mass layoffs.
I think I stopped reading Dual Shockers when Cam Hawkins left Dual Shockers.
I
That was
stopped.
like,
I think I stopped before that, frankly.
yeah.
But yeah, it's not good. It's really bad over there. They took it out and then didn't even put an editor's note that they had removed it. So And like apparently they only paid like 30-40 bucks for the review anyway, so it's like, oh cool, so you didn't even vet the person who wrote this.
Right.
Veilguard, it's fun though. I'm really enjoying it in the early hours, starting to assemble the party a bit. For somebody who's never been into Dragon Age, this is hitting all the right notes for me. I'm
Mhm.
not gonna go and be like, and granted, I'm very early in this game, but I have seen some people say, "Oh, this is Dragon Age's Mass Effect 2 moment." I think that feels very exaggerated because Mass Effect 2, let me tell you something, within the opening hour I knew how special that game was.
Mhm.
And I played it fairly recently too, because I didn't actually play the Mass Effect trilogy all the way through until 2 years ago, 2 3 years ago, when the Legendary Edition came out. I played through it, so
Man, Mass
I will
Effect's
say
amazing.
Veilguard, really, really good game. If you are on Xbox, you can get and you're a subscriber to Game Pass Ultimate, you get 10% off this game.
Mhm.
You can get it for $62.99.
Yep.
It's good though. I'm really enjoying it. I look forward to. I'm gonna play more tonight as soon as I get off of here. So, really looking forward to that.
It looks good. I mean, it looks like eyeballing it. It looks good. Um, it looks really good. Um, man, I'm glad BioWare has something that people like.
It
That's
gave
not
me
Mass Effect's trilogy.
it gave me a lot of hope for the future
Hmm.
because I did Andromeda was not it for me.
Hmm.
Anthem was obviously a catastrophe. This was kind of do or die for BioWare.
Yeah, this is
And
their
this
first game
game,
since Anthem, right? Besides the Mass Effect remaster.
mhm, this
Yeah,
game is outselling Black Ops currently on Steam.
man, that's crazy.
It's great. It's great. You love to see it. I wondered how Dragon Age is going to hold up in a post Baldur's Gate 3 world, and that's kind of been my concern about Avowed too. But seeing how good Dragon Age has been received makes me really, really optimistic for Avowed and Fable.
Yeah,
So very, very, very stoked. This is a great game. I'm there is room for non-massive games. It's still a very big game, don't get me wrong, but the areas are it's exploration, but it's also like limited in your exploration scope, which is something I respect about BioWare games, at least outside of Anthem
hmm,
and Andromeda.
yeah,
So basically, going back to like the BioWare that we love. So this definitely feels like a return to form. Very, very optimistic about Mass Effect 4 now going forward. But this is still small potatoes compared to the other RPG that I've been playing through this month. Diablo 4. No, I'm kidding. I have played a little bit of Vessel of Hatred. I look forward to talking about Vessel of Hatred on the next show that we do. I have not played enough of it to be able to talk about it as much as I would like. I want to play with the Spiritborn class a little bit more. This came out at a very bad time for me. I was so excited for it, and then Metaphor Refantasio dropped on the same day.
hmm.
And Corey, let me tell you, this is the game of the year. It's not even close. It's not even close for me. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has just kind of been chilling in that spot by default all year. Not that we haven't had good games, but it's kind of been chilling there for me all year.
Yeah,
Astrobot made a valiant effort. I don't know if and this is no disrespect to Astrobot, I don't know if it's going to be my top five. It probably will. I have not gotten to as many games as I wanted to this year because most of the games I played have been mega long.
yeah,
This game might be the best game Atlas has ever made.
interesting.
Persona 5 Reload, for reference, or Persona 5 Reload, Persona 5 Royale is in my top five of all time. Metaphor might be the better game,
Interesting.
but I don't have the emotional attachment to it that I did to Persona 5. Persona
Mm,
5 came out at a real when I played Royale for the first time when it came to Game Pass a couple years ago. Came out at a really important time for me.
mhm.
I was really struggling with a lot of personal things. The soon to be death of my mother, things like that. We had just gotten her terminal cancer diagnosis literally like 3 days before this game came out,
Mhm.
and I got COVID on top of that. So I spent my time recovering from COVID playing Persona 5 and just really bonded with the story and with the characters. Same thing happened when I played through Persona 4 and Persona 3. I think those games are incredible.
Mhm.
Metaphor takes that concept and applies it to high fantasy, and despite it being rated T, tells a much more mature story, I think.
Yeah.
This game gets fucking dark. There is a moment in the campaign where you ask a certain person, "What are you planning to do about so and so?" And he just simply replies, "You don't even have to finish getting the question." He goes, "I will kill him, no matter what you select." And you're like, "Oh my god, this guy is actually insane." You pick something up and deliver it to a character, and he goes, "Oh, thank you for delivering this. By the way, you saved me the trouble of shifting through the wreckage for it later," implying he was going to commit some type of genocide.
Yeah.
This game, and where I think it's better than the Persona games, is the party connections are so good in this game. This is such a tight knit group, and the party that you form throughout the game, you get a member from each of the different races around Uchronia, which is really important, I think. This, God, I like this game more because it was less about monster hunting and more about giving you total control over everybody's skill trees. You're not locked to, oh, they can only use their persona or
Mhm.
their archetype, as they're called in this. No, any character can use any archetype if you level it up. And you can mix and match the skills from all the different trees among those. As long as that character has unlocked that skill on that particular archetype, you can mix and match skills. There are a ton of side dungeons in this game. The story is the best story Atlas has ever told. Don't get me wrong, Persona 5 is a good game, but it really took the Royale content to take it to that legendary status that I think it has.
Yeah.
Without Royale, it's like, this is a solid like 9. With Royale, it becomes one of the greatest games I've ever played. It's in that same conversation with Halo 2 and Breath of the Wild for me.
Hmm.
Metaphor tells a better story from start to finish. From start to finish. This feels like the more mature Persona game they always wanted to tell, but the high school setting limited them. Persona 5 really kind of pushes the 4 and 5, I would say, even like to an extent 3. Like those games are still pretty damn dark.
Yeah.
But they're rated M for a reason. This is a rated T game, and it might be the darkest T game I've ever played.
That's crazy.
It's very mature for a T game, but it takes kind of the best of open world combat from something like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and combines it with the turn based combat that we're so used to in Persona. It is it is outstanding. The world they've built is so good. I would say the major knock I have on this is the anime cutscenes really feel like they were not fully finished.
Mm.
And that's a bummer because this is such a gorgeous world. This is such a cool world to explore. The stories you come across, I mean, every party member has an engaging story to tell. It's not like Persona 5's big knack for me was, oh, well, once they join the party and you've done their, the palace they're associated with, they kind of take a back seat with the exception of like Makoto. In this game, everybody gets their moments throughout the whole story. And that's really important. They learned their lesson from the criticisms of Persona 5. Louise Schoolborn, who is the main antagonist, obviously, if you've seen any of the marketing, you know Louise is the main antagonist, is one of the greatest video game villains of the last 15, 20 years. I don't even think that's a stretch to say. He's certainly the best villain that Atlas has ever done. And Atlas has had some pretty damn good ones. The antagonist in Persona 4, really good. The one that you initially think is behind everything in 5, pretty good. The antagonist of Royale, super good. Luis might be better than all of them. I He's up there like on that Sephiroth level for me. Like we're gonna talk about Luis as a villain for years to come. We're gonna talk about Will, the protagonist, for years to come. I think voicing the protagonist is so important for this game. It's so much to it, even though it's can kind of feel like the character's kind of lifeless in his dialogue. It still adds so much to this game. It's so good. I can sit here and gush about it for so long. This is far and away the game of the year for me. Indiana Jones would literally have to be and this is no disrespect to Machine Games, it would have to be an all-timer to beat this right now for me.
Yeah.
Dragon Age would have to be an all-time experience, like a Mass Effect 2 level experience for me to unseat this right now. I I don't know the last time I was this captivated by a brand new game world for the first time. Like, it might be when I stepped out of the tomb in Breath of the Wild. That might be the last time I was this captivated by a game world.
It's
It's
crazy.
it's that good. Like, it is that good. I don't think it has like a Breath of the Wild moments like that, but you hit you hit a point about halfway through, and again, it's kind of like Black Ops in that regard. Like, you hit a point, and everything you thought you were doing in this game suddenly gets turned on its head, and it becomes a totally different type of game. And it is probably the fourth major dungeon, is what I'm thinking of, and it is so special when you do it. It has some of the it is the best dungeon in the game. It has so many unique puzzles in it that I really, really enjoyed. And it took a long time. They made it a challenge to try and do these dungeons in one in-game day. But you can easily do every single quest and every single social link and have time to spare by the end of this game, which is something I cannot say about my first playthrough of any Persona game. It's not possible in Persona games.
That's
They
good.
make it possible here. So, and I think also trimming the social links from 10 to 8 makes it much more impactful. You get something rewarding every single time you level up a social link.
Hmm.
So that's really important. That's how you unlock all the archetypes, obviously. I do look forward to a new game plus at some point. I don't know if they're going to do DLC for this or if they'll do like a Royale edition. Atlas is kind of moving away from doing that.
Yeah, it seems like they are.
I think they want to move to DLC. They've also like realized that people are just tired of paying for the same game 2 or 3 times. I actually have 2 friends who are holding off on playing this because you know, they've been triggered before. I gotta say though, man, it's so good. This world is so unique. I need a sequel immediately. I don't remember the last time I played a game and went, I need the next one right now. It might be Persona 5 might have been the last one I felt that way about. And this is it should be noted, this is from the core team that made 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah,
They wrote, directed, designed, and scored this game. So whereas the team that did the Royale content for Persona 5 is handling that series going forward. So that series is in great hands.
yeah,
Because the Royale content is, like I said, far and away the best part of Persona 5. The best characters, the best palace, everything. So we're in really good hands there. Just this is an exclamation underscore
hmm,
highlighted, circled in Sharpie moment for Sega right now. They had a game of the year contender come out 3 weeks into the year. They have another one 3 months close to the end of the year. They dropped another one back in February. You legitimately could walk out there and throw out 3 game of the year noms just from Sega this year.
that's
2 from
great.
Atlas and 1 from RGG.
That's great.
That is
I'm,
incredible for a company that desperately needed it.
yeah,
Not even desperately, they just needed those brands to continue being as good as they are. And like, Metaphor is proof that brand new IP can succeed if they're given the right care. Like, that game sold 1 million copies on its first day.
hmm,
It was the fastest selling Atlas game, which we already had this conversation about Persona 3 Reload earlier this year, about that being the fastest selling Atlas game. It sold 1 million copies in the first week.
yeah,
I can't wait to see what the numbers for Persona 6 is gonna be, because that franchise has broken through to the mainstream finally.
yeah.
I'm crossing my fingers, my toes. I'm gonna say a little nighttime prayer to Jeff Keighley, but I need Persona 6 to get revealed at the Game Awards. I need that. I need it so bad right now. I can practically taste it. It's so good. I cannot emphasize to anybody enough. If you like JRPGs, if you like some of the greatest storytelling and character development I've ever seen in a game, this is the game for you. This is the game for you. Like, the way that my friends gushed about Baldur's Gate 3 is the way I feel about this game right now. I feel like this does for JRPGs what Baldur's Gate 3 did for CRPGs. In a lot of ways. That is not me saying at all that these games are equal. I'm very well aware Baldur's Gate 3 is one of the most beloved games ever made at this point. That is not me saying that at all. That is me saying that I feel as excited as they were telling me about Baldur's Gate, which I have put off repeatedly until I get a PC. I do not want to play it on anything that is not a PC at this point.
Yeah.
So
It's fair though.
This has my biggest, fattest stamp of approval I could ever give something.
Nice. That's good to hear.
It is far and away the game of the year.
It's good to hear. I'm glad. It sounds like a lot of people are really enjoying it. So I'm glad that Josh approved. Stamp of approval.
Stamp of approval, baby. It's great.
Stamped with a double N. Whoopsh. Well, Josh,
I think that's going to do it for us.
I think we did it. I think we nailed it. Yeah, it was weird recording this on a Thursday.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, this show is going to be on Fridays now, every other Friday, alternating with Tower Casuals, our other podcast. You should check that out if you're into Destiny. If you like this, you should rate us, leave us a nice review, subscribe on YouTube, all those things. Josh, thank you for your time tonight, as always.
Always.
You doing all right with the Mavs?
No, okay? We're getting our ass kicked right now.
Oh,
we're down 20 to Houston in the third.
It's
bad.
Yikes! We beat the Lakers last night, so
yeah, I know. The Cavs are 5-0 to start the season. The Mavs are about to drop to 3-2.
I know, quite excited. Except I don't want to get my fingers crossed or get too excited because it's Cleveland sports, and
something's been off about Luka too to start this season. He has looked really bad on his shooting for some reason.
Huh.
He is not the automatic guy that we expect. I think the MVP case the fifth game of the season might already be in the crapper. It feels like it's just going to be SGA's year, like for no reason other than they got to give it to somebody other than Jokic. So catch me in a corner praying that Giannis gets it over him. Yeah, this is getting out of hand real fast. Klay Thompson looked real good for those first 3 games and did not look great in Minnesota. Not looking good tonight, unfortunately. So hoping this team gets it together. But hey, it's not football, so I'll take it.
It's fair.
It's a long 82 games is a long season.
I know.
So I'm not ready to sound the alarm yet. This first month is probably it's one of the 2 hardest stretches of the entire season for us. I mean, in our first 4 games, we had to play the Spurs aren't hard, but like Wemby can be weird. Things always happen on opening night. And then the Suns and the Wolves, like this team played 3 games in 4 days to start the season. So that's always pretty rough. I just, gonna hope that. I almost screamed when it looked like Luka hurt himself the other night, because if he gets hurt, the season is over. It doesn't matter how early or how late in the season it is. The season is over at that point. So kind of feel like that's the point we're getting to is, this is bad. We're down by 23.
Yeah.
All right. Corey, get me out of here. I'm not having a good time.
The Browns won, though, Josh. I one in a row.
Amazing. All you had to do was just pull fucking Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, let's. We didn't pull him. He injured himself.
Oh, I'm aware.
Anyways, I want to thank everybody out there for watching or listening to this this podcast, Xbox Casuals. Check out Tower Casuals. Check out all of our other stuff. Thank everybody for watching or listening. Until next time, we love you. Goodbye.